Rain had stopped only a little while ago, and the village road was still wet, glittering under the weak evening light. A small kitten walked carefully along the edge, tail low, paws quiet, like it had done this 100 times before. She paused every few steps, listening, watching, learning the world. Behind her, just far enough to stay hidden, a lost puppy followed. He had mud on his paws, a loose collar that didn't belong to him anymore, and eyes that held more questions than fear. Whenever the kitten stopped, he stopped. Whenever she turned, he pretended to sniff the ground, as if it was only coincidence that they traveled the same path. The kitten sensed something. Her ears twitched. She looked back. Their eyes met. The puppy lowered his head, unsure, not barking, not running. Instead, he simply waited, as if asking silently, "Please don't leave me." The kitten blinked slowly, then turned away and continued walking. That tiny choice not to run was the first small kindness. They passed broken fences, a quiet shop, and a house where someone cooked bread. The warm smell drifted across the road, and the puppy's stomach growled. He tried to keep his distance, but every step the kitten took felt like a thread pulling him forward. Near a narrow bridge, the kitten slipped slightly on the wet planks. Her paws slid and she froze. The puppy rushed forward without thinking. He pressed his body beside hers, steadying her, breathing fast, as if saying, "I'm here, it's okay." She stood still, surprised, then slowly steadied herself and crossed to the other side. For the first time, she didn't walk away quickly. She let him walk beside her. Up ahead, a small wooden gate sat half open, leading into a cozy yard with soft light glowing through the window. The kitten slipped through easily. The puppy stared at the gate, heart racing. If he went inside, everything might change, and if someone found him there, they might send him away again. He took one slow step forward, and a shadow moved near the doorway. Someone had seen him. The puppy froze by the gate, paws pressed against the damp ground. The shadow moved again, longer this time, stretching across the small yard. He wanted to run. His heart said stay. The kitten slipped ahead without fear, weaving through the grass toward a wooden porch. She knew this place. She knew the smells. This was safety. A woman stepped into the doorway, wiping her hands on a small towel. Her voice was soft, tired, kind. "There you are," she murmured to the kitten, bending down. "You always come back right before dark." The kitten brushed against her leg, calm and confident. The puppy watched carefully, studying everything. The way she trusted. The way the woman smiled. The way warmth seemed to live inside the light of that house. Then the woman noticed him. Her eyes softened, then narrowed just a little, careful. Not angry, just unsure. She crouched slowly, staying still so she wouldn't scare him. The towel hung loosely from her hand. Rainwater dripped from the porch roof, tapping the ground in a steady rhythm. "Hey there, little guy," she said quietly. "Where did you come from?" The puppy backed up one step. His collar shifted, making a tiny metal sound. He remembered voices shouting before, doors shutting, the feeling of being too much and not enough at the same time. The kitten turned and looked at him, steady and calm. She blinked slowly, the way cats do when they are not afraid. Then she walked back toward him, brushing her side gently against his shoulder. As if she was saying, "Look, nobody is hurting anyone here." The woman noticed the gesture. Something changed in her face, softer now, more patient. She reached out her hand, not to grab, just to let him smell. Bread and soap and something warm lived in that scent. The puppy leaned forward, then stopped. Hunger pulled him closer, fear held him back. The woman glanced at the sky. Evening was settling deeper. The road was quiet again, but the air felt colder now. "You look like you haven't eaten," she whispered. "Wait here." She disappeared inside. The puppy's legs trembled. This could be a trap, or it could be the first good thing in a long time. The kitten sat beside him, tail wrapped neatly around her paws, watching the doorway with calm trust. Inside, footsteps moved. A cupboard opened. Something slid across a plate. The puppy took a breath. The door began to open again, slowly. And a smell he couldn't ignore drifted into the night. The plate touched the porch with a soft sound. The smell was warm and gentle, like comfort turned into food. The woman set it down carefully, not too close, not too far, like she understood there was a line he wasn't ready to cross. "It's okay," she said quietly. "You can eat, nobody is rushing you." The kitten walked forward first, but instead of eating, she simply sat beside the plate. She waited. She looked at the puppy, not at the food, almost as if she was telling him, "This is yours." The puppy moved one step, then another. His paws shook, his head stayed low. He sniffed, then licked, then finally ate in careful, grateful mouthfuls, not fast, not greedy, as if he was afraid the kindness might disappear if he took too much. The woman watched with soft eyes. "Someone must have loved you," she whispered, noticing the loose collar. "But somehow you still got lost." The puppy paused, lifting his head. The words meant nothing, but the tone meant everything. There was no anger in it, no blame, only worry. The kitten leaned in and gently bumped her head against his cheek. The puppy almost smiled, if dogs could smile in small, hidden ways. After he finished, he sat down. Not inside, not outside, just near the edge, close enough to feel safe, far enough to escape if needed. The wind carried new sounds from the road. A car rolled by slowly. A door closed somewhere in the distance. The world kept moving, unaware that a tiny, unseen decision was forming in that quiet yard. The woman stood, thinking. "You can stay here tonight," she said softly. "Just the yard, we'll figure things out in the morning." She set down an old blanket beside the porch. It wasn't pretty, but it was warm. The puppy sniffed it, turning in a small, uncertain circle before finally curling up. The kitten lay nearby, paws tucked neatly under her chest, eyes half closed. For the first time in a long time, he didn't fall asleep scared. But later that night, when the house lights went dim and the crickets began to sing, a distant sound drifted through the quiet, the slow roll of tires, then a voice calling out on the road. Someone was looking for something. Or someone. The puppy lifted his head, ears tense. The kitten slowly opened her eyes. The car stopped. The engine remained running. And a door opened. The night air felt different now, tighter somehow. The puppy stayed still on the blanket, ears raised, nose twitching. The kitten sat up quietly, watching the yard like a small guard who didn't need to make noise to be brave. The woman stepped onto the porch, pulling her sweater close around her shoulders. She looked toward the road, eyes narrowing. Headlights washed across the fence, then faded as the car engine idled. A man's voice called out, "Hello, anyone around here?" The puppy's heart began to race. Memories flashed, loud hands, loud doors, places that never felt like home. He pressed closer to the blanket as if its warmth could hide him. The woman answered, steady and calm. "Yes, what do you need?" Footsteps approached, slow, unsure, not angry, just heavy with worry. "I'm looking for a small dog," the man said. "Brown, white chest, loose collar. He slipped out of the yard this morning. My kids, they haven't stopped crying." The woman glanced toward the puppy. The kitten moved slightly, blocking him with her small body like a quiet shield. The man stopped at the gate. He didn't push it open. He didn't demand. He simply waited, hands in his pockets, eyes searching the darkness. "I've been driving all day," he added softly. "I shouldn't have left the gate open." The puppy lowered his head. He remembered laughter in that yard. Soft hands, bowls that were never quite full but also never cruel. Maybe it wasn't anger he remembered, maybe it was just confusion. The woman knelt beside the puppy and scratched gently behind the kitten's ear. "He came with her," she said gently. "He's scared, he hasn't eaten much, I don't know his story." The man let out a breath he'd been holding. He wiped his face with his sleeve. "Can I see him?" he asked carefully. The puppy trembled. The kitten pressed closer, steady and calm, whiskers brushing his cheek like a promise. The woman didn't force anything. She only whispered, "It's your choice, little one. Nobody drags anyone anywhere here." The man stepped no farther. He crouched at the gate and lowered his head, voice barely above the night sounds. "Buddy, if you're there, I'm sorry." Not loud, not begging, not grabbing. Just honest. The puppy slowly lifted his eyes. The world felt tight and quiet, and in that fragile stillness, he had to decide. Run back to the road he didn't understand. Stay where safety had just begun. Or walk toward the voice that sounded a little like home. He took a slow breath and stood up,